podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
No breaks, no breaks, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Well, the Speedway season is definitely drawing to a close, but some major silverware has been decided this week, and the Glasgow Tigers are celebrating their first league title since 2011.
Chris Harris brings home the Cab Direct Championship title. Officially, the Glasgow Tigers cannot be caught.
Yeah, the Glasgow Tigers are the Cab Direct Championship champions, having overhauled Poole over two legs and finishing the job on Wednesday night at Wimborne Road. In this week's episode, we have three members of the Glasgow Tigers team, two from the track and one from the top table. Peter Facenna joins us along with Chris Harris and Lee Complin. We'll also take a look ahead to the upcoming meetings. Lee Complin actually features in two of them, not least the National Development League Riders Championship at Workington on Sunday, and we've also got the National Development League Knockout Cup yet to be settled as well, and Lee Complin features in both of those, so we're ticking all those boxes. But really, it's all about the Glasgow Tigers and what next for the Tigers as well. All to come in No Breaks, No Fear.
No breaks, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, I'm Ian Brannan. I'm sorry in advance to any Poole Pirates fans. This could be difficult listening for the next half an hour or so, but it is all about the Glasgow Tigers, really, in this week's No Breaks, No Fear, as they are celebrating their first league title since 2011 after clinching the Cab Direct Championship title at Poole on Wednesday night. Chris Harris, once again inspirational for the Tigers as they defended their 14-point first leg advantage, restricting the Pirates to a 47-43 win on the night. Harris unbeaten prior to Heat 15 and sealed the crown by winning Heat 13, whilst his 14 points were backed up by Tom Brennan with 9+1 and Vadim Tarasenko on his first ever visit to Wimborne Road getting 9 points as well. Really, it was done in Heat 12 with then the Glasgow Tigers just needing a finisher in the remaining races, but it was officially sealed in Heat 13 with Chris Harris.
Into the final lap we go. This is going to be the moment that the Glasgow Tigers take home a championship title. Chris Harris, who's been magnificent all year, but you can't beat playoff bomber, and he's doing it big time at Wimborne Road. Chris Harris brings home the Cab Direct Championship title. Officially, the Glasgow Tigers cannot be caught. It's all done. Well done to the Glasgow Tigers, 2023 Cab Direct Championship champions. And who else but Chris Harris to bring it home?
Who else indeed? The year of the Tiger for Bomber being involved in Sheffield's title win, and of course now the Glasgow Tigers. But Glasgow, his regular club, who he's been with throughout the season and captained them to the title now. And Bomber is with us. We'll speak to Bomber in a moment, and Lee Complin. But first, Peter Facenna. Now the Facenna family, of course, purchased the club in 2015, and since then, Peter, the mission has been to win a league title, hasn't it? And you've been building and investing huge amounts in the stadium, but also trying to bring the best riders you can to Ashfield as well. And the Poole Pirates have so often been your nemesis, really, either in a semi-final or a playoff final. But now this time you got the better of them, and looking over your shoulder you can see the league title trophy that you've got sat there in your office with you, and it must feel pretty good to finally have it sat in your office and to know that you've won it fair and square as well. There was no controversy. The weather held off until after things were sorted. And there you are. You are the champions.
100%, Ian. You know, it's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of effort and a lot of focus and a lot of passion and commitment from lots of people. So to finally get over the line is amazing. You know, I always believe in Speedway, certainly, you need a bit of luck to go on your side. And we've had, unfortunately, the last few years, a bit of bad luck. But as you say, the boys did a really professional job over the two legs. They all chipped in, you know, whether at home or the away meeting, and to win it at Poole. And they really are the gold standard. You've got to say that, you know, in terms of what they've achieved over the years. So to win it against Poole when there was no controversy, as you say, was fantastic. You know, and we're really, really pleased to get this first of many, hopefully, titles in the Facenna era, certainly, under our belt.
You made some quite big changes at the start of the season. Quite a few faces that have been with the club for a little while departed, and you had to bring in some new blood as well. clearly you made some big signings, but also quite astute signings, and Lee Complin's with us as well, and he's one of them where maybe for some fans they were surprised that he was part of the Glasgow side at when the teams were announced, but he's more than shown how vital he is, particularly at home as well. Some of those performances, and really single-handedly turning 5-1s into 3-3s and things like that, and delivering points that have changed meetings in no small part.
100%. It was really important. We needed to bring in some youth to the team, so Bomber and Lee were first on the list for that. No, absolutely. Lee's been amazing, and aside from what he does on the track, what he does with the fans and the passion and the commitment that he shows is incredible, and that's what we're all about at Glasgow. It's not just about entertaining racing. It's about showing what an atmosphere we bring to the sport. And he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant with the kids. He's been brilliant with all the fans, and took a bit of a dip in mid-season in his form, but then absolutely came back amazingly at the end, and is a huge part of why we've got the title.
Massive signing, getting Bomber on board. A lot of people wanted him. Every team wants Bomber in the playoffs, that's for sure. But you were assured of having him in the side. We'll speak to him in just a sec, but just a word about, he became the captain further into the season, of course, but having Bomber there and fittingly doing the business in Heat 13 as well to bring it home, you couldn't have written it better, really.
2018, when he came to us, wasn't his best season, and when we announced that we'd signed Bomber, a lot of people were saying that wasn't a good signing, but we had every confidence in Bomber, and absolutely he's proven all those doubters wrong in terms of his leadership, his ability on the track, and what he delivered over the 2 legs was phenomenal for us, and really led the way in the pits, on the track, and as you say, he's just an amazing rider, an amazing captain for us, and we're really lucky and proud to have Bomber. I'm a great believer that good things happen to good people, and there's not many better people than Bomber. So fantastic the way he led the team to victory, and as I say, we're really proud to have him.
Well, he's sat there blushing now. But Chris Harris, another league title. It has been the year of the Tiger for you, of course, being involved in winning the Premiership with Sheffield as well, and now doing it for your side in the Championship that you've been with throughout. And another league title won at Wimborne Road as well. And you and league titles and that particular stadium seem to have a bit of a history. So it must have been a bit spooky in that respect. But to get the job done, there was nobody more proud on the track than you on Wednesday night.
Nah, definitely. I always race every year to win league titles, and I've obviously not won this league since I was at Exeter in 2000, so 23 years. I know I missed a majority of it because obviously never racing in it for a long time, but since I've been back doubling up, it's been something I wanted to win, as always. It's always been close, but not close enough. But to come back and win it at Glasgow was special, especially the first time there in 18 was not my fantastic year. I had a lot of issues off track with bikes and everything, and my daughter was born that year as well, so a lot of travelling and everything just snowballed from there. Really, everything went wrong. But like Peter said, when I got re-signed, it was a few fans was glad, a few wasn't, which I was expecting, and I did promise that I would show my worth and show what I was capable of and what Chris Harris brings, and hopefully I've shown that this year, and I've enjoyed my time, and being given captaincy after during the season from Tom was a bit of a surprise, but something that I took on. I was still trying to be a captain even when Tom was captain. I believe to have a good team, all 7 captains, to me, that's how it all works. But we worked as a great team.
You went 9 races unbeaten, I think, through the course of the playoff final. What is it about playoff Bomber? You just seemed even more fired up than ever. When it comes to this stage of the season, though, every year, is it because you know that there's a title on the line, you treat it like more a bit sort of a single event rather than the long season? It all comes down to this, doesn't it? And you certainly seem to get the bit between your teeth, and everybody loves watching you riding in these competitions as well.
Yeah, no, I was disappointed to not go 10 for 10, but I'll go for 9. So especially with the rain coming down at Poole in that Heat 15. But no, I suppose when there's pressure in there, I seem to rise for it. I do like a bit of pressure on my shoulders. That's it's something I've always dealt good with, especially in the playoffs. And I guess I've got that nickname now. So. playoff bomber. So it's I carry the pride.
Playoff bomber. What a record you've got though. You're also very busy in the pits with the likes of Vadim Tarasenko, for example. And, of course, Vadim, a lot was said about him in this second leg. Could he do what he's been doing at Glasgow? Because he's not ridden too many tracks elsewhere in British Speedway, really, since certainly not at the championship level. He's been to Redcar and Oxford, and that's it. So his performance at Poole was important. What were you doing to help him along in that and to help get him up to speed as far as the circuit was concerned?
Not a lot, really. He can ride a bike. He rides in the extra league in Poland. He's a good rider. Obviously, it's a track that he's never seen before. But I've noticed with the riders that from abroad, like the Poles and the Russians, that they adapt to the tracks quite quick. They're very smart riders, and just setups really for what I use. But he's got to find his own rhythm and what he would use. What works for me wouldn't necessarily work for him because we're totally different riders. But what he's got is he's a good gator, and when the track was going slicker, that's where he come in on his own. But he's been fantastic to work with this year. When Peter and that brought him in, and I spoke to him at Peterborough to come in and do a job for us. He was sort of if and hammered if he could fit it into his schedule, but we managed to twist his arm, and I'm thinking glad he come in the end. We certainly are.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about Vadim in a bit, but as we brought the subject up, let's cover it off now, because you're saying there that you were sort of Mr. 10% almost then, so sort of doing a bit of wheeling and dealing with, because it was Patrick Woodgelow, wasn't it, that was going to be the first option, and then that fell through. But how well it's worked out with Vadim. So you rode with both of those at Peterborough.
Yeah, obviously the first time we were going to get, obviously Patrick didn't quite work out, but when he couldn't make it, we managed to get Vadim in. So he wasn't too keen to start off with, I don't think, with his other commitments he's got and everything. But we had to make changes because of Martin being recalled back from his back to his Polish club. Because I think if he wasn't called back there, we wouldn't have made any changes because he was doing his job. So people saying, and the other fans out there and everything saying that Glasgow made changes because just training off for the playoffs. It wasn't quite true, really. It was more we was forced into it. The club was forced into it because of Poland calling back one of their riders and saying that he couldn't ride over anymore. So we had to make a change, and the rules was there, and Vadim fitted with his average, and Glasgow was the first one to jump on it and get his signature.
And yeah, it definitely works out well. Peter, you're involved in doing this deal. People will say about the average, and obviously he's coming on a 5-point average. His real average is probably over 10, I think now. But obviously this was a rule that every promoter knew about, and it was always a possibility that this could happen. Probably a rare set of circumstances to allow it to happen, I guess. But you pulled it off, and you mustn't be looking back. I mean, that was a great signing, but a great rider for the fans to see.
Absolutely, as Bomber says, we hadn't intended to make any changes. In fact, I think we're probably one of only two clubs that hadn't made a change through the season through changes in form or whatever. But when Marson kind of landed us in it a bit, to be honest with you, but not I don't blame him for that. We were forced to make a change, and because of the situation with Brexit, you need to find a rider who has got a visa and that can ride in the UK and that's not in a team and that fits within the average that we had to work with. So, as you say, we went for Patrick initially. That didn't work out because of some challenges with his visa. And then it was a case of, right, who is available that has bikes in the UK, has a visa and is able to ride. And, every club did know about that rule. We brought Marson in the same way on a 5-point average. It had been talked about at the AGM before, where there was jokes around Schmarzlik coming into the championship or Dudek coming into the championship on a 5. And at the time, that's the change we made, and it really worked out. He's a phenomenal rider, and his whole setup crew with Baz and Robert, they're just ultra professional, and he absolutely hit the ground running and was a pleasure to work with.
Lee Complin, now to you. I see you sat there in your van and you're waiting patiently. So let's talk about your season, because you came in as a reserve, as we mentioned already. That a solid signing, but of course you had only the previous season come back into Speedway, having been out for quite a long time. So maybe some would argue at the time when the team was announced that maybe it was a bit of a gamble, but absolutely not, because you've been solid. And the performances you put in, and especially in the playoffs from the meetings I've seen, you've rescued vital points, changed the direction of meetings. You've been involved in the real crux of these meetings, and in no small part, you've helped deliver a league title to Ashfield for the first time in, a very long time.
Yeah, obviously coming back after 11 years out, and then first season I came back, only did half a year, then Newcastle forwarded. So everything was always against me, but, I had the determination. I wanted to come back, and that's what I was going to do. So I obviously went down to Plymouth, mastered that small track rider. So when I came into this season, obviously Glasgow spoke to me. It was like a blessing in disguise for me. It's a club that I've always wanted to ride for. Even when Joe Screen days, we always had jokes saying I'm going to be at Glasgow next year, and then obviously it never happened. So it was one of those where everything just worked. I had a bit of a dip in form throughout the year with engines and things like that. But like I say, I was determined to sort it out, and I did, luckily.
As we heard on this podcast last week, we spoke to Neil Middleditch, and he pointed out, the importance of the reserves. And, you're one of those. You're out in some crucial heats, not necessarily the glamorous heats or heat 13 or 15 and things like that, but, heat 12, heat 8. These are the heats where meetings really do or can do really change direction. And you're involved in those. And I say that there were 5-1s to Poole Pirates. You got in and turned that round to a 3-3. And so, you've got a big part to play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you hear everyone saying that they're the vital heats, and it can just change the match absolutely immensely. It can go one way or the other. It's like a seesaw, isn't it? So I do get swapped and changed, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm here just to get put in where I need to do a job. And luckily, obviously, Ace was all right after the crash, and then we obviously I just hit the ground running, luckily, and we just got that 5-1, and it kind of got the momentum going again then, and we just seemed to be on it. But like I said, Glasgow lads, the team spirit is immense. I mean, with Chris Harris up and down them pits and stuff, even when someone's having a bad meeting, you can't have a bad meeting with Chris about. He just gets you going again. So when we got that 5-1, everyone seemed to just be on it, and we knew what we had to do. We knew we were going to do it. So it was fantastic just to be a part of it, to be fair.
Chris Harris is up and down the pits, but I'll tell you what, you're up and down the fans, and I think that's noticed by them as well, particularly at Ashfield. You go around there, you start pulling the donuts as well and firing the fans up, and they like that. They like that interaction between the riders and the fans, and that, feel that you are as passionate as they are about getting the win.
Oh, massively. I mean, I've always been passionate about the fans, because without them, we wouldn't be riding. And to be fair, I just like to entertain as well, but they entertain me by G'ing me up, so I give them a little bit back. And to be fair, I just get carried away with it, and to the point where I'm thinking, oh, blimey, I better go back in now. You know what I mean? When it's done. But no, I love it. Some fantastic people out there, and obviously every fan's got their own opinion and things like that. I mean, after the match at Oxford, I think it was, some people saying that I was too old and too fat and stuff like that. And then one chap saw me walking through the stadium at Glasgow and said, oh, you're not that big, are you? I said, no, it's body armour, mate. So that's what I mean. So, no, it's what it is. We've all do a job. I mean, it's just, to be fair, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. And when we won, I was absolutely welling up. I really was, because I knew how much it meant to the Facennas, and I knew how much it meant to me to show that, they didn't choose me for no reason.
Yeah, and absolutely, you have played all the riders have played a massive part in it. And what happened afterwards, though? Because I know when I last saw the Glasgow Tigers crew at Poole, you're all in the pits and everybody was packing up and going off. The last thing I heard was Cammy Brown saying, we're going to the pub. So what happened after that?
We just went to the pub across the road, and then obviously everyone was staying in hotels. I had to get home. I had work in the morning. I was going to stay in the hotel and then set off early doors, but then I just thought, I'll just crack on. So I just drove all the way home, got home at 5:30 in the morning, had 2 hours sleep and back to work. So no, it's that was my excitement for the day. To be fair, the only reason why I managed to drive all them hours back is because I was so static. I was so happy. You know what I mean? Normally I'd have to pull over for a quick cat nap, a little nana nap. But no, I was just so happy. I was just smiling to myself in traffic or, diversions. I wasn't bothered. I was happy.
Well, it sounds like it's better than any energy drink that you can have. So, does the job for you. All good. Let's speak to you again, Peter. Now, what is the future for the Glasgow Tigers? Because this now is the question people are immediately asking. Does this mean that Glasgow will consider going up to the Premiership? Clearly, there are some vacancies at that level of British Speedway now. Is that something that you, as a management team, are considering at all, either now or in the future? And tell us about the other work that's going to be going on over the course of the winter as well, because you have some major redevelopment work to go as well to make the track even better at Ashfield as well. So tell us about what the next few months might hold.
Yeah, so I think our plans are to remain in the Championship. I can say that. We want to, race night's a big part of that, Ian, to be honest with you. We like racing on a Friday night. We wouldn't want to move to a Monday or a Thursday to fit in with the Premier League. And also, Speedway is still quite a small sport in Glasgow. It's a city that's very much dominated by 2 football clubs. And, us moving up to the top league wouldn't necessarily bring more fans through the door because, Ty Woofenden wouldn't be someone that people in Glasgow know, for example. So commercially, clearly there'd be a bit of TV money, but commercially, I'm not convinced we'd be any better off anyway outside of race night. So our plan is to remain in the Championship at this juncture and to come back and try and retain our title. Absolutely. We always set out to win. In the 7 years that we've run, obviously we didn't run in 2020. We've lost in the final 3 times. We've won the final once and we lost in the semi-final 3 times. So it's a decent record. We always make the playoffs. And now almost I think the pressure's released a bit, being honest with you, because we've got that first title. I think we'll come back even stronger. It's always difficult building a team. And as I say, you need a bit of luck. We've been unfortunate with injuries just at key times, and including this year with Klaus going out just before the playoffs. But fortunately, we were able to get it over the line. As you say, lots of work at the stadium. The football team have now vacated the stadium. So we're going to, over the course of the winter, be building a training track and creating a Speedway Academy at Glasgow, because we want to bring through some young riders, especially more Scottish riders. It's fantastic that we had Ace in the team this year as a Scottish rider, but we want to bring through more children into the sport. It's it's not about making money for us. It's about making sure that we've got longevity in the sport and giving back to the sport and the local area that Allied and the Tigers operate in. So there'll be lots on the go around at the stadium, and we just want to see it used all the time for any events or anything. We just want to see it used for the benefit of the sport.
And what about next season as far as the team is concerned? Because it is one of the things with Speedway that you have great success and all that comes with it. But then with the points limits changing all the time and the riders' averages going up, if you've chosen riders that have improved them, then you struggle to track that title-winning side again, don't you? So that is going to be an issue. Is this something that you're going to have to worry about over the course of the winter? Because there will surely be some riders that are going to have to depart this title-winning side, and there will be an element of team changes come next year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it is difficult, especially with some of the changes that are likely to happen in terms of the points limit and everything like that. So some of the people in our team will make that decision for themselves because of where they want to take their career. So it's a bit easier that potentially we wouldn't have an option in all 7 riders anyway. But we will absolutely want to retain some of the riders from this year, but we will have to let others go, and some will make that decision themselves. So it's always a challenge, and it's one of the unfortunate things that within Speedway, it's one of the quirky things, I suppose. If you look at other sports, when someone has a really good season, they're rewarded for it. But in Speedway, some people can almost do themselves out of a job. It happened to Klaus in 2019 when he ended up well over an 8-point average and essentially made himself unemployable for a year or two. And it's unfortunate as well when young fans get a bond with a Speedway rider. likes of someone, you take career footballers that are with the club their whole career. We don't tend to see that in Speedway because of the average system. But equally, I understand it. We don't want clubs just to run away with it every year and do a Man City or whatever else it might be. So we do get it, and we just need to. I'm on that the next couple of days. Other clubs have had a head start on us because we were riding right up until Wednesday night. Other clubs' season finished before that. So the next couple of days, we want to get the team built or as close to as possible, so we know where we're going.
And Bomber, for you, have you done yourself out of a job? That's the question.
I hope not. I think with my average, I think hopefully a lot of teams, even Glasgow, hopefully we'll see what I bring away from the track as well. But what Peter said, it is hard. Sometimes you can ride yourself out of a job, but I've always been lucky. I've always been able to get a job somewhere. I suppose
you can always come work for me, Bomber.
Yes, exactly. Lee's always offered me a job anyway, so that's always on the table. I don't know what I would do mine, but make tea, I guess, for him. But no, it is hard for the promoters, and I understand. I've been around a long time, but I'm hoping I've still got a job. And
is Cruz going to be signing up to the Glasgow Academy?
I should maybe, sir, if I'm back there, if Peter wants me back, I'm sure he might be able to fit a little boy like Cruz in somewhere around the track. He's he loves it. He's always invited his teachers at school and all his friends to come to Glasgow next year to watch him race. So that's good. Obviously, more fans come through the gate.
He has got a fan club, hasn't he? I looked on his Facebook page. He's getting like hundreds and hundreds of likes for every post that goes on there. It's been quite a phenomenal few weeks for him.
Yeah, he's getting more views than me, so I don't know if I like that. I'm just best known as Cruz's dad now, not Bomber. So
yeah, tough at the top though. You're going to have to get used to it, I reckon. Let's talk to you, Lee, now about some more silverware that you could win, because we've got the National Development League Knockout Cup final, the second leg for Mildenhall. And with Mildenhall, you travel to Leicester, who are, of course, the reigning holders. Incidentally, Leicester will welcome back Dan Thompson for the first time this weekend. With Mildenhall, you start 11 points down, so maybe a bit of an uphill task there on their own circuit. But then on Sunday, it's the National Development League Riders' Championship, which is taking place at Workington, which is maybe a bit more like the conditions you're used to at Glasgow in terms of the track and what have you. And really, when you look at the lineup and how you've been riding recently, you must secretly be going into that fairly confident.
Yeah, I am. I mean, Chris has helped me out a lot with clutch plates. So has Benjamin Basso. He's helped me out massively as well. And Klaus. To be fair, they all have. That wasn't my forte, was gating, because back in the day, you didn't need to gate. You could just, there were dirt there to be able to get round them and things. So, no, I've had to do a lot of changes to get myself ready. But I am going into that. Wanting to win it, obviously. But no, I'm quietly confident about that one, yeah.
Did you just say that Chris Harris has been giving you gating advice?
Oh, not to make it.
Yes, I know. He has. He said, when the tape goes up, drop your clutch.
At some point.
I'm like, yes, winner. That'll do.
If you hear a ping when it gets to the top of the pole, you've probably missed it.
Yeah.
But on a serious point, riding with some of these riders you've ridden with at Glasgow this year, you're bound to have learned some things.
Yeah, just how I position myself on the bike and things like that. I mean, just silly things like when you're sat on the bike and you go to the start tapes, if you've got your hand on your throttle as normal, you think you're on full throttle, but you're only on half, so you got to get your arm right round to then pull the throttle back. Just silly things like that. I mean, that I wasn't doing. And I am doing now, and it has shown, because once or twice I made a gate, but like I say, when I make a gate, I'm like, oh no, what do I do now? You know what I mean? I'm not used to making gates. I like to be like the lines to be chosen for me where I've got to go, not to choose them myself.
Good stuff. Okay, well, we'll see how that goes then. Good luck on Sunday in the National Development League Riders' Championship. And you've got a bit more of an uphill task with Mildenhall on Saturday against Leicester, but again, another piece of silverware. That's another final anyway.
Yeah, we've got Alfie's out and our reserve is out, so we've got some people helping us out.
Can I guess?
Benjamin Morley's coming in. You come in?
Yeah, I'll guess.
Yeah, I'll do. So we've just got to give it our all. I mean, Mildenhall, a great family club as well. It's good how they're both Tigers, you know what I mean? So, no, they're very, very nice outfit down there. Very nice and welcoming. So it'd be nice to get it, but it would be a massive task against Leicester because they've got some good riders. But never say never. That's what I always say.
Well, indeed, and as we know, Speedway this season's already thrown up one or two surprises already, hasn't it? And an 11-point lead, not insurmountable, you have to say. Well, look, thanks for joining us, and huge congratulations on the achievement. You are the champions 2023. And before we go, can I just say, the Glasgow Tigers song that plays when you get a 5-1. I mean, talk about an earworm. But it was, Monday when I was at Glasgow? It has not escaped my mind all the time. So thanks, Peter.
It's a different Facenna you've got to blame. It's a different Facenna you've got to blame for that one.
I'll give you this. It doesn't half stick in the mind. Yeah. I've had Glasgow Tigers on the mind for the whole week, and here we are to round it up.
Oh, exactly. There you go. One stuck in my head. That's it.
I've got it as my ringtone, me.
Wow.
We're Tigers. We always do our best. We're Tigers. We're better than the rest. We're Tigers. We're ready for the fight. We're the Glasgow Tigers and we wear the red and white.
You see, once it's in your mind, that's going to stick for at least a week, I guarantee it. But congratulations to the Glasgow Allied Vehicles Tigers, and my thanks to Peter Facenna and Chris Harris and Lee Complin for joining us to talk about that title triumph. And now, of course, their job is to defend it in 2024. But we've still got a few meetings left to run this year in British Speedway. We'll talk about the upcoming fixture list, including, of course, not least, the National Development League Riders' Championship, which is just around the corner, the National League Knockout Cup, and a few other fixtures coming down the track as well. And we'll talk about all those in the next part of No Brakes, No Fear for your final fling of Speedway as we head towards the end of October. Get your diaries out.
Between aging and busy lifestyles, many women struggle with maintaining their physical and mental wellness. At Aquavita Concierge Healthcare Services for Women, we can help you revitalize your health and reclaim your life. We start from within by balancing your hormones, allowing your body to achieve and maintain desired weight goals. We also specialize in peptide therapies, regenerative medicine, sexual health, and aesthetics in our state-of-the-art facilities. Feel better, look better, live better at Aquavita. Visit aquavitality.com and begin your journey today.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
In this final part then, just a quick roundup really of what's coming up in British Speedway and where we're at generally with things, because of course the Sports Insure Premiership is all done, the Cab Direct Championship is all completed, it's just the National Development League yet to finish off the final meetings there. But a couple of other bits of news as well. First of all, we had the Peterborough Panthers farewell last weekend. Niels Christian Iversen was the winner of that, which came to a premature end after a spectacular crash in the final involving Niels Christian Iversen, who thankfully escaped with no broken bones, but he was taken to hospital. Ryan Douglas walked away after the two of them tangled in the very last race at the venue at the East of England Showground. So it was an awarded heat to end life at the Showground, which is sort of a slightly unfortunate way for things to end, but thankfully all the riders involved in that tumble are okay. Niels Christian Iversen was the eventual winner. Other things to look out for: Wolverhampton getting ready to stage the hugely popular Olympique Individual at Monmore for the final time, of course, that particular fixture as well at Monmore. It's going to take place on Monday. It will, however, be the penultimate Speedway event to take place at the venue because there is a farewell to come, as we'll find out in a moment when we look through the full fixtures. In the Cab Direct Championship, as we've already covered, it's all done and dusted now, so no remaining fixtures in the league, but there is still the Knockout Cup yet to be decided, home and away between the Scunthorpe Scorpions and the Poole Pirates, so still silverware is very much on the table as far as the Scorpions and the Pirates are concerned. So the Pirates heading to Scunthorpe. They were due to be going on Friday. It's now going to be on Sunday, and that's rescheduled because of a poor weather forecast heading into the weekend for the first leg of the Knockout Cup final. And then we've also got the return scheduled for the following Wednesday back at Wimborne Road. Birmingham pay tribute to Alan Graham on Wednesday's meeting up against the Cradley Heathens select side at Perry Bar. So that should be a good one to look out for. Then the following Wednesday, they've got the Under-19 Championship as well, which again was rescheduled. Most of the action is in the National Development League. Leicester winning 49-38 at Mildenhall last Sunday to put themselves in the box seat to retain that National Development League Knockout Cup, which is going to happen on Saturday night at Leicester. Ashton Bowden scoring a 15-point maximum for the Lion Cubs, but reserve Vinnie Ford was one of 5 riders to be withdrawn from the meeting, and he is going to miss that second leg due to concussion. So a few changes, as Lee Complin was talking about earlier, to the team. Meanwhile, the Mildenhall boss, Jason Gardner, is in for a rebuilding job ahead of that second leg because, as mentioned, he's lost a number of riders. Alfie Botel, reserve William Richardson, both injured in the 11-point first leg defeat to Leicester, with guest Jody Scott also withdrawn as the home side were reduced to just 4 riders standing at the end. And the Workington Comets wrapped up their first season at Northside with a 54-35 win over Kent. Connor Bailey scoring a 15-point maximum to round things off there. And now the next meeting at Workington will be the rearranged National Development League Riders Championship at Northside this Sunday. Starts at 2 p.m. and there's a couple of representatives from each club taking part as well. That fixture is also going to be live on BSN too. So if you've never seen Speedway racing at Workington and you want to take it in, then you can buy that one-off meeting. It's not included in any of the BSN packages, any of the season tickets or anything like that that have been around. It is a one-off meeting and you can get your passes on the BSN website for that if you can't make it in person. The lineup as at this moment of recording is as follows. Luke Muff at number 1, Ben Trigger 2, Max Clegg 3, Connor Bailey at 4, 5, Tom Woolley, 6, Jacob Clouting, 7, Max Perry, 8, Jamie Halder, 9, Jacob Hook, 10, Freddie Hodder, 11 is Danny Phillips, Ben Morley is at 12, Lee Complin 13, Jody Scott 14, Ashton Bowden at 15 and Sam McGurk at 16, with the track reserves Callum Foy and Ben Rathbone selected to be there as well. So that is the lineup. Of course, things may well change between now and then, and obviously some meetings still to come between now and then. So that is the lineup as we have at this moment in time. So looking ahead to the fixtures that are coming up over the weekend and through next week as well. Saturday then, it is the National Development League Knockout Cup final second leg. Leicester versus Mildenhall starts at Leicester at 7 p.m. Sunday, National Development League Riders Championship at Workington's Northside Arena. That's at 2 p.m. Monday, it's the Olympique Individual at Wolverhampton. There's going to be a good lineup for that as well. 7:30 the start time at Monmore. Nothing on Tuesday. Wednesday is the Championship Knockout Cup final second leg between the Poole Pirates and the Scunthorpe Scorpions. That one could be a thriller, you know, because Poole and Scunthorpe ran each other pretty close at the Eddie Wright Raceway last time. I think Poole, though, ultimately getting the job done. But don't forget, Scunthorpe ran Poole very close, took them to a superheat at Wimborne Road the last time they were there. So that could be one to watch. And live streaming will be available from the official club websites for the Knockout Cup final. National Development League Grand Final first leg is on Wednesday between Oxford and Leicester at 7:30. Nothing on Thursday, and on Friday it's the Teesside Silver Helmet at Redcar, 7:30 the start time for that one. Always a great event, so get yourself down to that one if you can. And then Saturday, October 21st, it's the second leg of the National Development League final between Leicester and Oxford. Monday, farewell to Monmore. We'll meet again trophy at Wolverhampton at 7:30. And I think as well we've also got, as well as the Alan Graham Memorial, which is on Wednesday, October 18th, the following Wednesday will be the Under-19 Riders Championship at Birmingham as well. And then that really is it, I think, so far at least, unless anything else gets rearranged. But we're all going to be done well before the end of October. So that's how things are shaping up in British Speedway. We'll be back with you next week. We'll try and get it back to the usual time of getting it out on a Wednesday next week. We'll get some reaction from the various meetings that are going to be happening over the course of the weekend and get you some good guests as well. So we'll see you next week for the next episode of No Breaks, No Fear.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.